Hello everyone, welcome back to Bachera Talks. And today's topic is entitlement management. We are still in the Entra ID governance, and in the big module Entra ID governance, there is one of the tool is entitlement management, which will help us to manage, automate the access to the resources, and that's what we are going to describe today. Well, my name is Arun and I'm solutions architect with Novintech, which is one of the best organization to work with. And let's get started. So, entitlement management, well, as I said, it is a feature of Microsoft Entra ID governance, right? And today we are going to understand the concept so that we can easily describe it or easily answer the questions asked during our certification. So it's a feature of Entra ID governance, and what it does, it will help us to control, manage, and automate access to resources. That's what we access, right? Now we have understood in a very simple way what it is, and now it's time to understand it through an example so that we can easily grasp the concept. Now, what are the resources here? Let's try to understand this. Resources could be many things, right? What are those many things? Resources could be your SharePoint sites, resources could be your groups, resources could be your teams, resources could be your applications. Right, let me mark it down. So all these things could be your resources. SharePoint, group, teams, and applications. And whenever there is a project or there is something where some work needs to perform, there are a lot of users. So for this example, we can think from the perspective of an organization where we have many employees, we have contractors. So let me write it down like this. We have employees, we have contractors, right? We have partners. So you understand there are people or user who needs access, correct? And there are many. And even in your organization, if you have seen how it actually happens, if your guys are not using entitlement management, whosoever needs access, maybe it's a new joinee, right? So this guy will raise a request or maybe doing throwing an email to somebody, right? Let's suppose there is a user and he sends an email to his manager who owns something out of it, right? Could be a manager, right? It could be the owners. It could be many people. For they are like owners for different things, different resources, and this guy will send email. And all of these one by one, they send email for the request, right? Now emails get approved, emails forget, they remain with the access or they do not get access. It consume a lot of time, right? It's not as simple as I'm showing. So right, so these users will send email to get the access on one of the resources one by one if they do not have the entitlement managed. So what exactly happens, you all understand if you're already working. If you're not, just give it a thought. There is a request which will go to the either managers through email or through the IT admins or through the various owners. So it is hard to track who approved what, whether the email got approved or not, because people who just drop the email, he thinks its job is done. Now it's up to the other guy who needs to approve it, then he will do his job, right? So it wastes a lot of time, lack of tracking, and access is often granted for too long and not removed after a project ends. And this causes security risk and compliance, a lot of dependencies, a lot of not tracking reliability, you know. So entitlement management. So how entitlement management will help us here? That's what we need to understand, and this will help us. All right. Now we have understood the scenario here, right? There are people who needs access, and there is a way to have that access, and this way is not an efficient way, and this way is also depends on lot many people, not on a single one. Lot many people, not on a single one, which means a lot of time get wasted. Tracking is not there, access remains for more, so ultimately a security risk, compliance issues, a lot of things which is not good. So what we do, we engage the entitlement manage in between. So what would happen, there is something, this tool, entitlement management, comes into the picture. Let me call it EM, entitlement management. And what this will do, this will help this entire process go smoothly, because what it does, it control, manage, and automate the access. And that's what entitlement management do. Now what would happen? Let me show you here. Now, if any of the user needs access, this will go to the entitlement management. Okay. Now, for security reasons, we always have a approver. We could have approver one or approver two, like more than one in stages. We have approver, and this approver could be, because it is a project, right? So you don't need to be an IT guy. It could be the project owner who is nothing to do with the IT or technicality. They could be simple managers who's owning this project. They only need to approve the request. How this is done, what it is done, is all been taken care of while implementing the entitlement management, right? So request will come to the entitlement management. This will go to the approver. If there is a single approver, it will approve the request. If there are multiple, then it will go to the stage 2. If there is a stage 2, let me put it here, approver 2. For the security region, we may have two approvers, approver 2. And once this approval happens, then this guy could have access on all these resources. Why? Because when we implement entitlement management, we create something called access package. And this access package has the resources. Something called access package, right? Access package. And this access package has all those resources which needs access. For example, for this particular project, we need the access to some SharePoint site, some group, some teams, some application, all these combined into one access package. Now this guy will request, and once the approval is done, this guy would have the access to the access package, and all these things this guy can access. Not this guy, anyone who belong to this project can go through this. Now you must be wondering what kind of access he got, or how come, only who can request the access and for how long. All these things will be taken care during the implementation of entitlement management. Let me try to explain that as well. So when somebody sends a request, we need someone to approve it. We need to fill this information during our uh, implementation of uh, entitlement management. Sorry, approver. Then what he is going to approve? He is going to approve the access packages, right? But the person who is trying to request, he wants to get the access on the certain resources. So this access package consists of those resources which is required to do a certain project, right? Accordingly, we will have multiple access packages, and we also select the role here. Role, like once we approve the request, what kind of role the user will get. It would get the member role or owner role or things like that. That would also be selected when we are implementing the entitlement management, right? We also select here who can access the request, who can raise a request. That can also be selected, right? So everything is being taken care of here. We have multiple access packages for multiple projects with different roles and different and of course expiry date. For example, our PM or this project is of 30 days, then while creating this access package, it would be mentioned there for 30 days the access will be provided and automatically it would be revoked. See, now all these access will get automated. One approver is needed, maybe two if it is so sensitive. You have added two stages. Now we are controlling easily, we are managing it and automating it. The entire access request to the resources. That's what the entitlement management do. Now, of course, it is solving a lot of problem. So it would not be free for sure. So we need a premium P2 license to perform this or to implement this entitlement management, which is needed to do this, right? Now, if I just need to consolidate everything that we've been talking about, why do we use entitlement management? Now you know to simplify and automate the process of granting access. Ultimately, we are granting access because this guy is requesting access and we are granting access. Not one by one to different owned by different folks, but we're combining those into one access package and approver is there. This guy will approve and you will get the access. And to ensure access is given only to the right people because we select who can raise the request, right? This is also inside the creation of entitlement management and to reduce security risk by making sure nobody has excessive or outdated access and to help meet compliance and auditing requirements by keeping track of who has access and when it was approved or removed. So that's why we need entitlement management. And now we also know how we can implement it. We just need to create the access package. Access package consists of the resources to whom we need to provide the access, like these SharePoint, group, teams, and all. And these can start showing in your entitlement manage when you create the catalog, right? So this all these things will come later when we will be talking about SC300. But for now, because this is all about describing the entitled management, we have already given you a lot more information that is needed. But for this, you can easily describe. It is Microsoft Enter ID governance, with the help of which we can control, manage, and automate access to the resources. And this is the concept that we have explained, which is more than enough for this describe entitlement management. So I hope this was informative and you guys learned something new today. Thank you for watching and have a